Oh, wait a minute, I didn't know it was gonna be recorded. And I'll stand here because I know you've got a camera and things like that. But thank you, Patricia, for having me, and thank you to all of you. And I know that as long as I've been in Rotary, I know about Steve Baker and his Musketeero program, malaria. So whenever I think of malaria, I would kind of Rotary Club of Key Biscayne and Steve Baker. So thank you for the work that you're doing here. We've had a tough couple of years, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. There you go. We really have. Our district's had a hard time. The world has had a hard time. First we had our school shooting in the northern part of our district. Shortly after that, we had a Category 5 hurricane in Grand Bahama Island, which just devastated that island. I just came back from there yesterday. And then COVID, so one after another, and it's really kind of changed the way we do Rotary now a little bit. If I had told you 5 years ago, we're all gonna meet on Zoom, you would have said, what is Zoom? Right? What the heck is Zoom? It's just the projects that we do. I mean, I'm sure some of the holdups with the malaria project has been because of COVID. We know that my club shipped bikes to Africa, and that was a big problem. Was COVID has halted a lot of things, and the price of shipping containers. But it's also changed the projects that we do. Now that we're doing things with, we were doing, I don't know, PPE for a while. It's been so long since we talked about masks, I forgot what it was called, but it's really changed the way we've done Rotary. I've noticed in my club visits, attendance is down. It's down about 50% in a lot of clubs, right? Are you guys experiencing the same thing here?
Yeah, we have been safe because of the hybrid, because some people really like the
Right.
live meeting. And some people can make it and they join in the Zoom.
They do. Yeah, I mean, this is actually, while we had done this during COVID, I do find a lot of clubs have kept this. I know my club has kept this too, because we had members that moved away, but still want to remain a part of our club. And that's okay. And I think the key to all of it is finding a way to stay relevant to all members and give them all that return on investment they're seeking, whether it's from afar or it's hands-on. So, that's one of the things that, was a blessing, I guess, that came out of this, is people could now do Rotary their way and do it a little bit different. And I think that especially with all that we've gone through the last few years, the world needs Rotary now more than ever.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
There is no one who can do the things that we do and just mobilize people and efforts as quickly as needed in areas that are needed, whether it's local or, afar. So the world really needs us, and that's kind of a good thing. So I know they asked me to come here today to talk a little bit about what my vision is for next year and what my plans are. And it's really simple. I just go back to Rotary, and Rotary has an action plan that has come out in the past few years, and it has 4 pillars to it: increase our impact, expand our reach, enhance participant engagement, and increase our ability to adapt. So I took those 4 pillars and I, wrote down, well, what does that mean in our district? How can we interpret that? And then in my president-elect training sessions that I've had, I challenge all our PEs to adopt it for their own club, write their own action plan. So my background is in strategic planning, mergers and acquisitions, and marketing. Fancy term is I wrote plans on how to turn a distressed business around. That's basically all I did. So strategic planning is my love language. So when I thought, I'm going to write an action plan for the district and I'm going to get all the presidents on board to do the same, it took a little while, but I think they started to get it. It would be like if you were driving somewhere. When I drove here today, because I live up near Parkland, I plugged the address into my GPS and it gave me that turn by turn directions, right? That's what the plan is for your club too. It's your turn by turn directions on how you can be even bigger and better and make more of an impact. So let's talk a little bit about what that action plan is. First, increase our impact. It's just what it means. How can we do even more, especially with less? Because people's finances are tighter, our engagement is down. But how can we do even more? How can we make a bigger impact? One of the ways of doing that is through partnerships. Partnering with your municipality, partnering with another club, partnering with another service organization. Or, like the women's club, like you're doing. How can you expand your reach and increase your impact and do even more in the world? And then that brings us to the second one, expanding our reach. How can we make Rotary more inclusive? Well, one of the things that we've done is started a diversity, equity, and inclusion program to look at barriers to entry into Rotary.
Move a bit to the right because this flag is covering.
Take off it.
I cannot take them off.
Oh,
Just move it.
Oh.
Better.
how's that?
Well, that's beautiful.
All right, great. Well, it's not, but thank you. I'll take it. Yeah, so we really want to try to do even more. And I know that that's a lot to ask of Rotarians, is thinking, I'm already doing so much and I'm just a volunteer and I have a job and I have life and I have kids and I have all these things. But it is kind of about working smarter versus harder. So expanding our reach. The next one is one of the ones I feel the most passionate about, and that's enhancing participant engagement. Because people join Rotary for different reasons, right? Some people join it for the service. We have a new young member in my club, and many of you have heard of our bike project that we do, where we collect bikes, put them in a shipping container and send them to Impingeni, Africa, where another Rotary club collects them and distributes them in very remote villages. It's a fantastic project. And we had this young new member, and we have to take apart the bikes, and she was taking apart the bike to put it in the shipping container. And she's like, look, my hands are dirty. This is why I joined Rotary, right? And that's it, that younger generation, they want to roll up their sleeves and feel like they're making a difference. And we need that. And then there's that next generation, they've done the dirty work, their back's a little sore now, but their careers are established and they can write checks. And they want an organization that's going to be good stewards with their money. And we need them because sometimes we need that money to do the projects. And then there's that next generation that's done the first two, and they just want to be with their friends. They just want to now have lunch or, socialize with their friends. And that's fellowship, and we need them too. And I always believe that any Rotary club that's missing one of those three components is they're dying. So we need to get back to that. But more importantly, we need to ask people why they joined Rotary in the first place. And how can we give them that return on investment? And we all say, well, we're volunteers, we don't get paid, but we do. It might not be in money, but I always say, like, my business feeds my family and Rotary feeds my soul. So how can we make sure we're feeding their soul? Because running a Rotary club is just like running a business. And we're in the customer service business. And our customers aren't the communities, they're our members. When we take care of our members, they'll take care of the community. So that's how we start enhancing that participant engagement. And then all the other things fall into place. They take care of themselves. So ask your members why they joined Rotary and try to deliver on that experience for them. So it's a big one. And then the other one is enhance our ability to adapt. And we really had to do that now with Zoom. And, moving locations and coming up with creative ways. And, we have to adapt. Sometimes we don't want to change, but change is thrust upon us. So it's all in how we pivot and adapt to that. So that's kind of our action plan for the district, is putting those tools and resources in place. The district isn't a top-down organization. Rotary is not top-down. We're bottom-up. So my job is to give you the tools and resources that you need to support you to do what you do best, period. And whether that's training, whether it's programs, whether it's, whatever you need, that's what the district is here to do, is to serve you so that you can go out and serve your communities. So we talked, they asked me about the theme for the year. So I know that this has been like very exciting because whenever the theme comes out, everyone wants to know. And, we go to International Assembly, all the governors elect with their partners from all over the world, and they gather to hear about the new incoming president and his vision. Their incoming president is Gordon McAnally, he's from Scotland. And he talked really about how Rotary should be about continuity and continuing programs that have come before them. So this is the theme for the year, create hope for the world. And this plays on Jennifer Jones's theme of imagine Rotary. Is imagine, you don't imagine the past, you imagine the future. And this is kind of what I was just talking about. The world needs Rotary now more than ever. And Gordon says that peace is the soil where hope takes root. So we want to bring back some peace, bring back some hope to the rest of the world and some healing. We really need some healing. So Myra was not able to join us at Florida Pets. So Peter grabbed this for us and I'm going to present this to you as well. So you'll have your banner. Thank you. Oh. All right. Let me present. There you go. So let's talk about some of the new programs that we have too, building on that continuity, because we don't want to have these stop starts every year, another governor and another president and another vision. So we try to build on that, and that's what our district governor line does. This past year, Governor Michael Kesty started the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion program, as I mentioned. We do have a co-chair for that. It's Julie Folkers. She is in the Rotary Club of Coconut Grove. And we've got some really great initiatives to make Rotary more accessible and inclusive for everyone. And so we're looking at some things for that. He also started the Empower the Girls program. And that is co-chaired by Claudia Valderrama and Georgia Winfield from the Rotary Club of Hallandale Beach. And one of the projects they started last year this year was we sponsored the Little Haiti girls soccer team. The Rotary Club of Miami did that and paid for their uniforms and their fees for travel and really supporting these girls playing soccer in Little Haiti, which I thought was really fantastic. One of the programs that we want to continue with that for next year and working with Interact students is working on a menstrual hygiene program for high school girls, because we're finding statistically the girls are missing school. About 1 in 5 girls are missing school when they have their menstrual cycle. We're not talking in Africa, we're talking right here. This is happening in our own backyard, and we don't want that to happen. We don't want girls missing school. So we're going to talk about some ways that Interact can partner with us and do some hygiene education. And then the environment program, that was new. We now have this SDAG, Environmental Sustainability District Action Group, led by Robert Bull. So we did the Million Trees Miami, where they did big tree planting. We've done some beach cleanups, and he has a whole schedule of events. So every month there's another environmental project going on. I see that you're doing that now with the bamboo utensils, trying to eliminate the use of single-use plastic. That's really big. So if you have interest in environmental programs, we're going to be doing a lot more with that. Coral reef restoration in the Keys, mangrove restoration in Grand Bahama, because that was wiped out, the mangroves, and that's the estuaries for the fishermen. So lots of great environmental projects. Youth exchange. We're going to bring that back. I know that kind of went away with COVID, and we were part of a multi-district youth exchange program that kind of disbanded. We're trying to reform it. It's going to be about a 2-year process to get youth exchange back. So we're planting those seeds right now so that by next year we can send some of our students outbound and take some in as well. So we're really excited to get youth exchange back. And then of course, polio. Polio is always going to be a big focus of ours. We always say we're so close. We are so close. But, because of COVID, we weren't able to give the vaccines throughout the world like we had been. We did have a couple cases pop back up, so we can't take our foot off the gas. We really have to fulfill our promise to the world to eradicate polio. A couple new things we're going to be starting next year is a Peace and Conflict Resolution Committee. And this is a passion of Gordon McAnally's, really because of a lot of things that are happening in the world, especially like in Ukraine and Yemen and Syria. But sometimes peace means within our own members, our own clubs, and our own district. So we're working with an organization called Share America that's going to teach us different skills on conflict resolution, including how to have conversations and listen, not for persuasion, but for understanding. So we're going to be doing a session on that at the district training assembly, which is coming up. Drew Monahan is the chair of that committee. And mental health. Peter knows that this is a big passion of ours too. I was in Grand Bahama last September, right before Hurricane Ian came. And a couple of the members I was talking to, they said, well, I have to run home because my wife has PTSD from the hurricane. And anytime there's even just a storm, he says she puts on a wetsuit and waits on the couch. And we've thought about rebuilding Grand Bahama, but we haven't thought about the mental toll that that's taken. And then we've just had, between COVID, school shootings, hurricanes in our own district, we've got a real mental health crisis here. And Gordon McAnally lost his own brother to suicide. So it's a big passion of his. So we want to make mental health affordable and accessible for all, not only taking care of the world, but taking care of our own members. It has to start here. And stopping the burnout that we do as Rotarians. We try to do it all. We have to make sure we're taking care of ourselves. Yeah. So mental health will be a big focus of ours. Peter's going to help us with that. And then grow Rotaract. So we now have a Rotaract chair for the district. We've identified that there are Rotary clubs that are not in our system that are operating out there. We don't know who they are, but they're in our backyard. And then we have Rotaract clubs in our system with 0 members. So we're going to try and get a handle on where are our Rotaract clubs in our district? Where could our communities benefit from Rotaract? I was just at a Rotaract meeting in Grand Bahama because they are crushing it there in Rotaract. So they know what they're doing. So we're really excited to not only grow the number of clubs, but the number of members, and also then provide them with what they're looking for. And what they want is job skills, leadership skills, career skills. They are looking to Rotary as mentors to help them, be successful as well. So there's just a few of the things that we're working on. It's kind of been a busy 3 years planning for a 1-year job. Yeah, but so create hope again. I think before we create hope in the world, we have to create hope within our own clubs, our own members, our own communities, and then we'll take care of the world. And like I said, I think the world needs Rotary now more than ever. You're in the right place, and we're so grateful and appreciative of all the work that you guys do. Yeah. So I'll take any questions anyone might have.
Before you go on, since President-elect is here, you can give the banner to her.
Her face, like.
Going up.
In your turn. My glass is almost empty now.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, thank
All right.
Yes, a couple of things for Rotaract.
La vas a poner ahí para todos los días. No, what you have to do.
A couple of things. We need to stop making clubs with just one university. We need clubs with multi-university, or with even people that is not on university.
It's a question. Right?
No, we need to stop. Like I've been saying this for years. I started in Interact when I was 17. I went through Rotaract all the way to 26, and I founded one club. I can tell when you have clubs with multi-universities, or even people that is not in the university anymore, even at 18, or they didn't go to college, they perform better in the long term. Second thing is, if when you go and you won't pick who to elect, either a Raila or people for the board of Rotaract, don't pick the people with the highest scores. I wasn't one of them. And I can tell that sometimes it's a mistake, because leadership has nothing to do with the scores someone has during the process. I wasn't brilliant like in scores when I was in high school, and I wasn't when I was in college.
Mhm.
But the leadership spirit was always there.
That's a really great point. I'll take that back, and I'll answer that question too about Rotaract. Rotaract is no longer a function of youth services like it has been in Rotary. They are now more part of Rotary. So that's how our numbers jumped from 1.2 to 1.4 million members, is we now include Rotaract. So we don't always call them Rotarians and Rotaractors, we're Rotary members. And there are community-based clubs and there are university-based clubs, and now they pay dues. They're nominal dues, but our Rotaract share is Solanka Julian from Bahama, and she said she was excited to see that Rotary and the district are going to start charging dues to Rotaractors, because then they have more buy-in. They take it more seriously, and it's nominal. It's like $10 a year. So I mean, it's affordable for someone to be a Rotaractor. But we do have a community-based Rotaract club in Miami. They're not in our system, but they are operating more community-based, and that's one of the things that we are looking at. Because then, you know, when you have a university-based, they're great because they all want to join an organization. But then every year you have this turnover because they're graduating, they're moving out. So, and that's great advice about the RILA students too. I'll take that back to them. See.
So, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
I must say that our district, I know, has some challenges, and it's great to see a steady hand coming to take over for us. And I do want to agree with you that Rotarians can do stuff in the world that other NGOs cannot do. We have some amazing partnerships, for instance, with the UN Foundation, with PAHO, and with other organizations, and we can really do stuff on the ground that is hard for others to do. In terms of Rotaract, I've seen in Latin America, and I'm aware of many Rotaract clubs in Africa that are extremely active, and they are able to get their own global grants now.
Yes.
And we really lack power. The Rotaractors in Africa, for instance, tend to be technicians, doctors, and nurses. They're still in school, but they're doing malaria projects on their own. They are the boots on the ground, and I'm hopeful that our district will really develop a strong Rotaract program that will provide us with more boots on the ground.
Exactly.
So anyway, thanks for coming.
How much time do I have?
You still have like 25 minutes.
Okay, I'm not gonna go over, but you should never tell district governor they've got time.
Oh, I was gonna say you have all the time in the
All
world.
the time in the world.
Yeah, you have 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. We've got 114 more days. In Grand Bahama, when the hurricane hit, are you familiar with the rotary water plant on Grand Bahama Island? So there's a water plant that was built there, and it's a reverse osmosis plant, and it has grown and expanded. It is the most impressive thing. You should really have Mike Stafford speak to your club. He'll speak via Zoom, amazing presentation. His home was flooded out. He had to swim from his home to, he had a cottage that was a little higher up, same piece of property, but they swam to that property to ride out the rest of the storm. And of course, he couldn't get to the water plant once the storm had passed. The Rotaractors got there because just a week before, he taught Solanka how to run the water plant. So she gathered up all these kids and they went to the water plant. And they were working 20-hour days for weeks on end. And the Rotaractors, and she even has early act students too there. They were running the water plant until Steve could get there. And it is just impressive. So go back and ask Steve about that. He's got tons of pictures and videos of these Rotaractors supplying water to the entire island. It wasn't just people who ran out of water. No, restaurants, hotels, the hospitals. They were filling these tanks and driving them out to remote areas. So Rotaract did that. It was amazing. Anyone else have a question? No? Then I'll yield my time. Thank you so much.
When you talk about Rotaract, you're right, because we go in life and kind of lose that fire that we have when
Yeah.
we are younger. So, Rotaract can really fire, because Rotary has so much to offer, but sometimes we just get complacent
Yeah.
and say, oh, okay, yes, this is nice, and like you say, fellowship, this is very nice, but we need to do the work, and then we need to get somebody else
That's
to
right.
do the work.
Just don't try and get a Rotaractor in your club because you need someone to take over your
Oh,
social
no.
media. And that's what people do, like, we need a young kid in here to go do our social media. 'cause that's what we're doing. Yeah, and they don't want to be asked to do that.
Yeah.
They want to
no.
do more.
No, we have,
We have one.
thank God, we have a very seasoned guy who
Very
has
good.
really taken over and is doing a great job with.
Excellent.
Seasoned, huh? You haven't heard that for a while. We have a seasoned here.
Okay. So,